Good morning on this. Yeah, I forgot my watch. What today is it today? I think it's the 23rd of March 2026. I know I got the year right and I know I got the month right. The date might be different, but I think it's correct. It's been a while since I've been doing some updates here, and there are various reasons for it. I mean, there's not much positive to talk about, and the negative, well, I don't know really if it is all that negative, but I just know that I got my last PSA at 107 if you've seen my videos, and it knocked the wind out of me a little bit, though I do know that there might be some sensible reasons for the elevated number. And 107, yeah, because I've had the number below 100 for 5 consecutive months, obviously I would have loved to see it yet another time below 100 because it's just such a nice reference point. So that was disappointing, but 107 is just within the normal range of what I've had of fluctuation over the past 3 years. So there's nothing alarming about it really. 2.5 years exactly, actually. Um, but um, I think I'm struggling a little bit with my health lately. Um, I know I'm not just I'm thinking I am struggling because first I got some sore throat kind of thing, and I'm always a little bit anxious when it comes to these kind of problems because I know I'm doing everything right and I'm very, very conscious about living a healthy life and doing things the right way. And so my immune system should be able to combat these things. So when I start getting some small symptoms of this and that, then it has me a little bit worried because it shouldn't happen. On the other hand, yes, it is a sign of a healthy system. I used to say anyway that when you get these minor issues, it's a sign that at least it is able to combat things, which is a good thing. But about a week ago, I got a really bad UTI, and I thought I could solve it myself, uh, among other things, by using Dimonose and adding a little bit more curcumin to my regimen. But while the Dimonose seems to help the second day, the third day, it got even worse. So I had to surrender, and I've now been on antibiotics for 5 days. Some strong antibiotics, 400 milligrams, 800 milligrams morning, 800 milligrams evening. I can't remember the ones. It is something for UTI, but also could alleviate some issues with prostatitis. And as it stands right now, I think I'm suffering from a combination of the both, with the predominant problem being prostatitis, really. So that doesn't add up to something nice either. And now I've been on the antibiotic for 5 days, and it hasn't resolved itself. Night visit has been as bad as 10 visits a night, and mind you, this is visit that takes up to 10, 15 minutes of time. So it's just basically my whole night destroyed. Over the last 3, 4 nights after I got on my antibiotics, I have reduced it to between 3 and 5 visits a night, and 3 visits is just brilliant. I mean, it's not good, but to me, once you've been at 10 visits, and the 3 visits is just a dream. But it's still 15 minutes, and I'm starting to measure how the flow goes as much as I can do. And when I wake up and I'm in the need of peeing, it doesn't feel like urgent. It's just there, and I know it will disrupt my sleep if I don't go empty the bladder. And once I get up, a few seconds later, before I reach the toilet, it feels like an urgent matter. But the first attempt, if you will, gives me about 20 milliliters of that's all. 20 milliliters, that's all that I can get out there. And that is even by relaxing and by putting a little bit of pressure and by doing a little squeezing, 20 milliliters. The second go around, which is about a minute or two later, I can do about 20 to 30 milliliters. It seems a little bit less irritated and a little bit easier, but we're still talking very little. Then usually I go to my living room and I take a walk around in there for 5 minutes, or I get to the couch and sit down with the elevated torso so that the fluid, whatever it is, can flow the right direction. And about 5 minutes later, I can do about 50 milliliters. So now we are at about, yeah, just shy of 100 milliliters after 5-8 minutes. And then I do not longer have any urge to pee, and I feel like I'm actually done with it. But by experience, I know I'm not. So I usually stay in the living room for yet another 5-6 minutes, and then before I go to bed, I let myself off whatever I've got left, and that is usually between 50 and 60 milliliters as well. So my routine is pretty tiresome because it takes a while, and the flow is very slow. And as I said, the initial one is really almost non-existing, 20 milliliters, but really feeling the urgent need. It's not fun. But the total amount is typically between 160 and 180. I have seen it up to 220 milliliters in total for a 15 minutes session of peeing in the night. And I'm very meticulous about it because by doing that, I am hopefully reducing the number of time I have to get up. So giving it a little extra minutes, 5 minutes, maybe gives me half an hour extra sleep before I have to go to the loo again. So yeah, that's a bit of a problem. I've got the MRI scan coming up here in May, which maybe will give some answers, but I also know that part of it is psychology. My stress levels are not through the roof, I should say, but I mean, they are high, much higher than they used to be, and I can't seem to bring it down. My blood pressure is up, and I can't seem to bring it down. And I know it is a because of my financial situation as well. It's not fun to make a top of on a good month now at $100, and I am looking everywhere to see if I can find the money or I can find the work. I'm selling out of all this stuff I have in my home that has a value to be sold and nobody buys it, and I am looking for work in every place I can get it. I'm starting up some new self-dependent concept, you could say, that I might be selling in Denmark eventually. Eventually, like I have to start doing it like the end of next month, but it's just very, very difficult. And it's something that I always say you have to be very careful about what questions you ask because you might get the answer. And it's not always the answers are given in words or in a few sentences or anything like that. Sometimes you get the answer in real life experience. And sometimes I have not been wondering, but I've thought how it would be to be without all the privileges that I have had so far. I've had money enough and I've had plenty of work enough and all that. But now I'm being answered that question. And now I know, and now I feel how it is to be rock bottom. My wife, she's now making more money every month by selling her mushrooms and by working in the fields, and she does not make much money at all. But sitting here to know that I'm the one to be the provider, but I can't provide, it hurts. It hurts. It really does. So it's not adding up to my well-being either. But it's also a good opportunity, really, to prove that meditation and through that a change of mindset can change the game. So that's something that I have finally decided to put my mind to right now, starting today actually. Because it's so easily when you get in depressed mode and everything just fails on you, everything just seems not to work out, to fall into that dark pit of self-pity or I might just as well give up. But then you're realizing what does it mean to give up? I mean, I'm still breathing and I refuse to stop breathing, so there's no giving up kind of thing doing really. I just have to figure out how to muscle myself out of this situation. But it's not fun. We also got my motorbike accident. I can't remember if I told you that. I got hit straight on by a drunk driver on a motorbike in a village not so far from here, and it crashed my motorbike for, I don't know, probably $1,000-$2,000 worth of repair. But the guy had zero money, lived with his parents, and he was, I suppose, about 30, 35 years old. That's how it is out here in rural Thailand. They don't have anything. They've got enough all the time to drink their beers or their alcohol, but they don't have enough to cover the damage they causes when they do drunk driving. And I had no way of escaping here. There was like 10, 15 witnesses, and all of them agreed 100%. Yeah, that's a side note on that story. They did not solve with the police. Apparently, that's not the way it's done out here. What they do is that they meet up a day or two later, depending on how long time the involved parties has to be at the hospital. The guy had to go to the hospital because not only was he drunk driving, he was also driving in the wrong side of the road. That's why he hit me front on. And he was also driving without a helmet. So he knocked his head on the concrete. Anyway, long story short, we went there to the house where the guys lived. So I saw he lived in a very poor standard, and everybody was there, including the village boss. And then everybody was talking about what happened, and I was told to give my story or my version, and I gave my version in Thai, and everybody was just sitting there nodding, the other witnesses, and saying that was exactly the same way they experienced it too. So there was no arguing that the guy, he was at fault. Now, they do speak Thai Isan, and Isan is not really a dialect I'm very good at, to say the least. So I always made it a kind of a habit to back out of it. I brought my wife along, obviously, because she's the one doing the talking. And, well, yeah, I'm trying to make a long story short. It is short. It ended up being her paying the other guy, the Thai guy, who was the cause of the incident, 500 baht, which is about, what is that, $10? No, $20. Yeah, just shy of $20, which is not much money at all. But I didn't know about it, and when we were done, we took off. I was a little puzzled about how everybody was smiling the way they were doing it. And as we were driving home, my wife told me that she paid him 500 baht, and I got furious. I got to be honest about that one, because it turns out the village head of village had said to my wife that how much we wanted to pay him was up to us, but he was the one who was in most pain, so he thought it was appropriate that we paid him. Now, I don't really care much about 500 baht. Well, that's not even true. Right now, that is a lot of money for me. That's more than I make in a week sometimes. So I really care about those money. But the fact that we had to pay him money because he was more in pain, him being the one causing the pain, him being the one being without the helmet, him being the one being drunk driving, and I'm sitting there with damages for between $1,000 and $2,000, and I can't do that to my motorbike. A fairly new motorbike, boy, brand new 2 years ago, and the insurance ran for 2 years, and it's 2 years and 4 months. Now the insurance doesn't cover the motorbike either. So yeah, I'm struck about with a lot of bad luck, as I would say it. So that's something that I have to turn around, both in physical manners, but also in mental manners. And I'll get into that. I've got some good friends who are supporting me, but if you do feel like supporting me, then you're most welcome. There's a link in the description for my Ko-fi account. Any help would be most appreciated. I hope this video didn't end up getting too long. Until next time, stay happy and healthy.